Organissima, New York. Your exotic skin, hair, and beauty source, and your one-stop shop for all your natural and organic skin and hair care, featuring authentic organic Moroccan oil and prickly pear seed oil and much more. Bringing you only the best, straight from the source and proudly produced in the USA. So what are you waiting for? Shop today at www.organissima.com. Organissima, New York. Your beauty is our duty. Organissima, New York.
Well, welcome back to the iHealth channel, the Fit and Fab channel, iHealth Radio, new day, new show, new topic, and a new guest. I might say also a treat today, literally, and we'll talk about why I say that. So we're gonna share some secret sauce. And again, I'm being funny about those terminology that I'm using. The terminology I'm using today is really right on point with the guests we have today. And we're touching on the topic of the fit and the fab and the wellness. And one of the things that people have been, always struggling with, in I guess in history, but more recent than ever, is weight loss and food management, the right food, what kind of food, how to cook, what to do, and all those things. Staying healthy, staying fit, doing all this stuff. I mean, it takes a lot of work. And there's so many ways you can tackle this. And we've had different guests, with different angles. But at the end of the day, it's still focusing on one thing. We want you to be better, healthier, fitter, and feel good about yourselves, and also healthier inside and out, right? So that's it. So today, my guest is Tina McDermott, and she is the lazy inspirational chef. That's just what she calls herself, but she's really a true inspirational chef that helps people and does different things. She's a speaker. She has her own currently, speaking, gigs and things like that, and shares a formula with people about how to really eat better, be healthier, maybe get healthy without any special diets and things like that. And we're going to tackle all that today. So first and foremost, thank you for being with us, Tina. How are you today?
Hi, Hurricane. Thank you so much for having me today. I am doing fabulous.
Well, you look and you're happy, and we've talked a minute ago, and you were like all excited about this show and not being excited about the show because it's been a couple of months again that we booked this. And so finally we made it. And, we need to hear you. We need people to hear you because this topic is not, anyone thinking in their home, somebody in the house is probably discussing this. I'm tired of this. I'm doing this, diet. It's not working. I got a little gut here. I can't fit my clothes. I go to the gym. I don't see results. Those are common things that we hear all the time. And I hear them in the shows. I hear them in the gym. I hear them all over the place at work. But you have been helping a lot of people through different ways, and you've been also addressing, in different topics, these issues. But first things, as always, I'd like to invite you to tell us your story, because there is a story behind you and behind your mission and what you've been doing. So what is the story behind Tina?
Oh my goodness, Hurricane. Do you want the long story, or do you like the girls version, or do you want the short story, the short and sweet?
Listen, we have time, so let's do it. Let's give us the whole pitch.
Oh my goodness gracious. I'll start off, and I haven't told my story in a while, but I'm a child of Italian immigrants in America. And so I'm first generation American. What did you say?
I said ragazza.
Ragazza, you're funny. I love it. That means girl.
Yeah, that's right.
And Italian, very good. And, as a child, I was the third female. And in an Italian family, like the boys are king. And finally, they did have a boy 5 years after me. But, I was anorexic when I was a kid. I wouldn't eat. It was a way for me to control my life, to control my parents. And finally, at the age of 12, I went to Italy with my grandmom. It's not the first time I went to Italy, but it was without my parents. And I came back 20 pounds heavier. And because I just started enjoying food again, I wasn't with my parents. I was with my grandmom. I was having a great time and I was enjoying food. And for the first time in my life, I was enjoying food, because before that, it was all about control. Well, I came back and my sister started teasing me that I was fat. Well, I was not fat. It was actually a perfect size. And, and I don't, my sisters were just being girls. They were just being girls. I'm not mad at them, none of that stuff. But what happened was this tumble of emotional issues with me. Because you imagine being 12, 13 years old and people calling you fat and like you have to exercise, like that's it, and I turned into this person who was an exercise fanatic. All I did was exercise and go on diets left and right. And I always had stomach issues on top of all of it, always had gas and bloating. They even had a special word for me in Italian. And look, I'm being very transparent, Hurricane, and I'm okay with it. I really am. But they would call me puzza, which means stinky in Italian, because I had terrible gas and bloating, and nobody knew that it was a thing. There was a reason why I had terrible gas and bloating, because I was allergic to a lot of things. And into my 30s, I found out that I had chronic Lyme disease that was likely started in my teenage years. Knowing the symptoms, knowing all of those things that I was experiencing in my 30s, I had experienced at some level throughout my teens, throughout my 20s, throughout my early 30s. So here I am, I have chronic Lyme, and it took me 5 years to get rid of it. And how did I get rid of it? I got rid of it through eating properly, the right kind of foods in my body. I always exercise, like that really, it's calmed down. Since I got married, I have definitely calmed down on the exercise. I'm not like riding my bike 350 miles a week. Now it's maybe 100, if that. But, proper nutrition, sleeping right, meditation, exercise, and the right supplements. So I was able to heal myself from the Lyme disease. And I've always been a teacher at heart. And I've always been teaching people how they can live a life that's healthy, that's vibrant, that's free from the diets, free from dis-ease, free from everything that they don't want or need in their life. Little long-winded, but there's one other piece that I haven't put in yet, Hurricane, is that when I was 19, my older sister was diagnosed with breast cancer. And her anniversary is coming up of 9 years that she's passed. And, from a very young age, I wanted to know as much as I could about health and wellness and nutrition, so that not just I wouldn't suffer like my sister was, but so that I can teach as many people in this world how they can not suffer, that they can live a life, like I said, healthy, vibrant, and free. So I dedicate my life to my sister. I dedicate all of my podcasts, all of my books, everything to my amazing sister, Anna.
Wow, that is beautiful. And it's amazing, because this is October and it is Breast Awareness Month. And again, we didn't plan for this, but but certainly the timing is really, I would say it's just unique. And and again, that's honorable, the fact that you're dedicated a lot of this in her memory. And this is, so again, may she rest in peace. And again, keep up the great work that you're doing. But so I don't want to just make this a sad, moment, but I do want to get to that joy moment. Your story. So you were literally not eating. I've noticed that actually, a lot of folks, I have kids, and, I see that around in an early age. A lot of children, they don't kind of eat a lot, and then they start eating a lot. And I don't know why. Their bodies, at the first, like, they're very picky about food, and they just pick and choose. They don't really eat a lot. Then they start snacking all the time and things like that. But then that's sometimes when they get, overweight and just get a lot of junk in there. But you stated something specific. You didn't gain weight until you actually went to Italy. And so the question that I have, and I think that probably people will ask, why specifically in Italy, and what kind of food did you eat? I mean, we all know Italy and, spaghetti and all the pasta. Is that even a thing that affected? I know it probably more than that, but the fact is, the question is, you didn't gain weight here. You were able to do that there, and you don't eat fast food there. So
No,
what was the transition? And by the way, you gained weight. To your point, you didn't get overweight. You just gained the right weight.
exactly.
So, what was your formula there? What
Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's the thing. First of all, it was a control thing. When I was here in the States with my parents, it was a control thing. I was emotionally felt more free when I was in Italy. So it wasn't what I was eating, it was the fact that I was eating. And my grandma, she was born and raised in Italy, and she has to go and visit all of her relatives, right? All of her sisters, all of her brothers, and the cousins and the aunts and the uncles. And so every time you go to an Italian person's house, which by the way still stands true with me today, when you come to my house, you have to eat. And if you don't, they get upset with you that you're not eating. So every time you go visit somebody, if you're visiting 5 different people a day, you're eating 5 different times a day. And I just fell into that. Oh, okay. It's okay to eat. It's okay to eat. Though the emotional piece didn't come up for me. Although I can remember, I remember when I was in Italy, I don't remember a lot from my younger years, but I remember having stomach problems even when I was there, the whole gas and the bloating and stuff. But yeah, so that's what I did. It's not that I ate tons of pasta, but I do remember eating a lot of canned peaches and marmalade. I do remember that.
But you said you're right. You were not eating, and then now you started finally eating, and meals, and to your point. By the way, I can relate to that story about when you go east, and then in all the old cultures, it is very, it's not polite not to accept food when you go and visit family. And unfortunately, I experienced that when I go overseas and visit with my, family. It's the same thing. Every house you go to, you're going to have to eat. And they look bad, they look at you like, what's up? I mean, are you sophisticated enough? You don't like our food? Are you, so you just don't want to offend them. And therefore you wind up doing it. So it is hard. Culturally, you got to accept it, and it's, you got to deal with it. But you're right. But again, so you came back healthier in a way. I mean, physically you were better, but then you faced that whole dilemma with the children where, oh my God, right? But then you went over that, and you got over it, and you had the experience with your sister, and then you dedicated a whole work for her, and it is an honorable actually mission that you have, and it's really sweet, and it's touchy, and I think a lot of people can potentially, some people would relate to that story, and everyone is potentially doing something for someone that they love, and whether they're with them or they lost them, and or they're doing just to help people, and that's always a good thing. I mean, one of the things we're doing here is hopefully, sending a message to people that there's things that we can do. There are things that we can do to be healthier, to be better, and just by changing some of our habits. And by the way, we're talking, the key topic today is really eating and food, and really good eating, good healthy eating that can keep you in a nice pattern, no overweight, no loss of weight, and still have the nutrients that you need. But so before we get to that detail, I know it is tradition these days. It's almost becoming a religion that there's different diets, there's different, formulas how to do this. And there's so many waves and so many schools of thoughts out there. And listen, I mean, we do have a fitness, company as well. So we focus on, keeping fit and stuff. I do martial arts, there's all these things. But there is a combination between wellness, fitness, eating healthy, all that stuff. But the combination here that's affecting most of people is the food and how we eat food. It's also, I think, the principle of society today, and I've had this discussion in different topics, but it's really almost the same thing. The society we live in today, especially in the US, we eat fast, not fast food. I mean, besides fast food, we also eat fast. Even if you eat anywhere, we just eat and run. We don't take the time to really enjoy the food and the meals. We don't take an hour to eat, or really, a couple hours as they do in Europe, right? Yeah, we don't rest, we just take that food, just shove it in, and like, okay, I'm good. And they go. There's no nothing. And then there's also the type of foods we eat. There's fast food, there's microwavable stuff, because we always eat and run. I know it's bad for us, but a lot of us do it for almost by necessity. Either we don't have the time because we're working or busy, or we have nobody to really do that nice cooking, or some people cannot balance. And these are excuses for the most part. And there are ways around them. You're going to teach us some of those. But really, that's really our core problem here, is that we live in a very moving society that almost dictates some of these things. And people have been literally zombified or programmed to kind of live that life, but to a detriment of their health. That's the issue. So how do we tackle that? I mean, it's a lot of components right there.
There's a lot of components, Hurricane, and I'm gonna back up, and I'm going to start tackling this piece with you.
Go for it.
With my philosophy on eating. There are so many capital D, capital I, capital E with a small t's out there. Do you get that? There are lots of diets, and I don't go by a diet because we don't want to die. We want to live, right? We want to live it. And
I love that, actually.
I want to live it. We want to live it. And having come from a traditional Italian family where meals are taken at the house, and they're made at the house, and we don't go to fast food restaurants. And if we go to restaurants, my mom is like, can we go home? Can we go home? I don't like this. I want to go home. Restaurants are not a thing for my parents, still aren't. And so generations today think that food comes from a drive-through, not from a farm. And then from the farm, they get to the grocery store or the farmers markets. And I want to bring people back to that. I want to bring people back to that. And I'm going to backtrack again with what's going on globally in our world, that people were forced to cook food at home, which I feel is a blessing. They were forced to cook food and prepare food at home and eat with their family again, and possibly slow down a little bit, which was wonderful, because that family time, meal time, is the time to sit, relax, enjoy your family, be together, and nourish one another, not just with food, but with prayer, with how was your day today, and check in with your family, check in with your loved ones. How did school go today? Hey, did you remember to brush your teeth this morning? Remember to floss them too. You check in with them with all of the health things. Did you drink your water today? What happened? Family meals. I want to bring them back. And hopefully this is I'm imploring everyone who's listening to this to go back to family meals, because families who dine together stay together. With that said, I can see you're very much in agreement.
I am.
yeah, I can see. And my philosophy on eating, it's very simple. It encompasses everyone, whether you're a vegan, a vegetarian, a pescatarian, an omnivore, an herbivore, a meatitarian, you name it, it encompasses everyone. Is we want to eat foods as close to the way that Mother Nature prepared them for us. The more they're processed, the worse they are for us. The more they are closer to Mother Nature, the better they are for us. So think about this, very simple. Eat foods that walk, fly, swim, or grow, with an emphasis on grow. Walk, fly, swim, or grow. The emphasis is on the grow, right? The fruits, the vegetables, because we need 10 to 12 cups of vegetables a day. That floors people every time I say that. And we center our meals around the meat versus the vegetables. Center your meal around the vegetables, go minimal on the meats, and try to get pastured meats and organic foods. The organic meats are the best if you're going to do meats. And if you're not, that's okay. Make sure you're getting your proteins by mixing more than one grow together, and you'll get your protein. And 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 eat the rainbow. Eat as many colors as you possibly can. Eat as many colors. So that's my philosophy on eating. And so when you're going to a store or a restaurant or wherever it is that you're going, think, how far is that processed? Okay, what's better for you, a potato or mashed potatoes in a box? The potato. What's better for you? Sugar made from maple syrup or the artificial sugar? It's made in a lab. We're organic.
It's a chemical.
People. It's a chemical. Why would you put a chemical in your body, right? 5 ingredients or less on your labels. Let's go back to eating the way Mother Nature taught us. I don't count calories. I don't do any of that. I don't teach my clients to do any of that. They don't need to, because once we get back to the basics and eat foods that walk, fly, swim, or grow, emphasis on the grow, things will clean up, because the vegetables are full of fiber, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, anthocyanidins, phytonutrients. There's so many things that vegetables and fruits are full of. We need to be eating more of those. So I hope that people will start to slow down and realize that even with the walk, fly, swim, or grow, you can make fast food right in your own house, so that you can grab and go right from the refrigerator. And would you like to hear about some quick ideas of how you can make fast food in your own house?
I do, but let's hold that. I want to just take the advice you gave here and the whole. I mean, there's a lot of stuff there. So I just want to kind of recap, or at least break down some of those elements. Yes. So you mentioned a key element here. Going back to the old school, like to the old days, sit down together. I think that's going to be a pretty shocker to a lot of us listening today, just because I have noticed even today, today specifically more than ever, with the introduction of these things, phones, that's my little phone here.
I got it.
People can be sitting on the same table, but really not, they'd be absent. They'll be literally connected, and that's been almost a new trend, and it's hard to get rid of those. And some families today are even adopting the philosophy that if you come to the table, your phone doesn't come with you.
Correct.
Yep. And so I think that's one key element that we need to emphasize on. We want to go back to that family table, family meal, family style eating and dining at home, and also kind of disconnect a little bit from the like literally you have friends on social media, but they really disconnected. They're connected, but they're not really connected. They're connected through the online business, but they're not really socializing with you the way you want. That's socializing, being in front of people. Even psychologically speaking, there's more to that than socializing with someone over the internet, right? I think that's one element. 2, you mentioned about, again, proper home cooking and eating properly. And we'll talk about the types of foods that you put on the table. The restaurant food, I mean, I'm not talking about fast food. Sometimes you want to go out there and have a nice dinner and do a little, outing, whatever. That's, a lot of families like to do that as a decompressing concept, right? They go out. And the problem, and I've noticed this myself, and me and my wife, we always have this discussion. We actually reduced a little bit going out, as much as we potentially did before, because every time we go, we wind up eating a lot of salt. I don't know if you know it, and I think everybody that's listening to now, that you're right. There's not. I haven't had a meal that was not extra salt somewhere. Okay. And, even in the best refined restaurants, you still get a little bit more because, again, it's cooked in quantity and speed. Even in a regular nice restaurant, you still have some of that. And so you always are thirsty and you get all these extra things and the sauce and, all the stuff that's added there. It might not be as the best. And to your point, even some of that you can buy literally from a restaurant depot or some sort of a saved, or frozen type of, element, right?
Yeah.
That's like almost second best. But then you have, the fast food business, which is like people, I'm just drive through, pick up and go. And you said it earlier, people are almost like, got adjusted to that. Like, hey, listen, it's a style. But there are factors that affect that. I don't think there's enough media today that talks about eating at home. I don't see any commercials showing people getting together or over, a pasta dish and sharing, drinks and having a good story to tell on the table. Even movies have moved away from that thing. It is like if you watch movies from the
Right.
80s and 70s, you see a lot more of that. Now you watch that, you see more like, pick and go snack, it's funny, but it's you're really subjected to this day in, day out through the marketing. And again, they do a good job marketing, but they're marketing the product for good reasons. Obviously there's companies that support that, and it's industries, but it's unfortunate. But now maybe there are, that we need to bring that trend, to your point, and whereby we can start seeing more of that traditional meal. We only see those potential commercials in the holidays when they start showing, the little family together over some sort of a, I don't know, some sort of a cooked meal, and whether it's Christmas or any of the, main holidays. But that's actually something that is different. But then you talked about really bringing it to the table based on our pandemic, basically. I mean, you were nice not to really to go over and state the statement, but it's a fact. We're a health channel, so we can talk about it. So we had a pandemic, and there's a lot of bad things with the pandemic and tragedy and stuff. But there are some things that happened in that time. To your point, and I can literally state this: it happened to us in my family. We love to eat sometimes outside and kind of sample different cuisines. And my wife literally learned to cook all these cuisines during that time. So we wind up eating every day a different dish from a different nation. but it was just her cooking them. I mean, it tastes a little bit, less salt, I guess. But it's funny because it's not just my story. I've heard this from other people where during the pandemic, and because people were locked down, they didn't, and they were scared to go out and eat. Plus, they would not even if you wanted to eat outside, you couldn't in a lot of states. So people really reverted to the concept of cooking and stuff, and they were creative because you can't possibly eat the same thing every day. So people were like changing their meals on a daily basis. And thank God for YouTube and Google. I mean, you can put any recipe these days and be able to do this, right? And you can, and we're going to talk about your recipes in a minute, but that's the transition here. So again, I wanted just to break these elements because that's what really we've been facing. And it's going to take time to change that, unless we all get with this particular formula that you're sharing with us today. You wanted to say something, go for it.
And I want to say something really important is that families who eat together stay together. I said that, right?
Yes, you did.
But here's the piece that we all need to know. It actually boosts your immune system. When you have, let's call it community support. And this also applies to adopted families too. Like I have friends that are my best friends and I call them sisters because they're my adopted family. When we're together with our friends, our community, our church, or your family, whoever it boosts your immune system. It boosts your immune system. I wanted to say that. The other thing I wanted to say is my husband and I, we like to eat out once a week, maybe at maximum. Just end of the week, I'm tired. I don't want to clean the kitchen one more time from all my cooking shows. And when I'm eating food that I don't prepare, I don't fuss too much about it. I just say a prayer, I bless the food, and everything's fine. I don't worry that the chicken wasn't farm raised or that the fish was wild caught or farm raised. I don't worry about any of that. I just enjoy the company, enjoy the atmosphere, and have a good time. Everything will be fine because my body, since I eat whole foods and mostly really, really good foods other than once a week, my body within 24 hours will take care of the rest. Be fine.
And Tina, that's excellent because you're right. I mean, there is a need for us to get out. I mean, you can't possibly always eat at home and get, in the same, because you'll get boredom and all that stuff and it becomes routine. You do want to diversify, but you're right. It's so much about maybe, first of all, even when you go out, you can still be selective. There's a lot of different places you can go that you can get decent and very, well cooked and very well, well tasty, healthier stuff. Yeah. And then also to your point, it gives you a little, opportunity, but your body is literally getting 6 days of, or 6.5 days of good stuff, and maybe a little cheat day. It's gonna balance out, and it works. Again, a lot of dietitians will tell you everything is moderation. You don't have to go extreme one way or the other. No, like you're talking about yo-yo diets, and you're right. People go extreme with diets and they just have ups and downs, and they're not consistent. Therefore, they affect their bodies. Just, your body is like up, down, weight, no weight. It's crazier. So that's a big deal. But you also mentioned, the colorful, table, the different foods, and you talk about air, like fly in, walk in, and swim in, and then produce growing, right? I like that analogy. I think everybody got that one, right?
Yeah.
So it's very simple, but you're right. Proteins, it's the meat, categories, but you said the emphasis in foods that are like grown, so potato, and you're right, choices. I can have mashed potatoes, but they will be from scratch, not from, a box. I can have, certain things that are like, you can buy in a can, but just get them, like I give an example, summertime, you can buy fresh tomatoes from farms, right? Yep. You make them, you can make your own sauce, right? So I'm pretty sure you do that. But that's the thing, like you can, and they're seasonal stuff. Obviously in the winter, sometimes it's hot. I mean, the East Coast, so it's a little harder Northeast, it gets colder. So you don't get all the fresh farms, food. So you have to sometimes compromise and buy, but even that, no cans, or at least, unnecessary cans you don't have. Now, some people literally live off cans, and it's not about money here, because you can spend just as much on those as well. So and again, people can tell you, well, farm is expensive, and you're right. Organic food can be a little bit more costly, because it's organic, right? But there are ways to shop, depending on where you are. Obviously, it makes a difference. If you're in the suburbs, it's a lot easier. Yeah. In the city, it's more difficult. But so that's another point that, you drove. And I think that is important, because people have to see, and any dietitian, any nutritional, person will tell you that's the formula. You want to get veggies, you want to get fruits, you want to diversify from scratch, cook home, yep. Also cooking, the process of cooking is another, element. You do the cooking. I mean, fast cooking may not be the same as slow cooking, right? I mean, there's that. I mean, there's more. Again, I'm not an expert in the cooking business, but and we'll relate to you on that one. But really, the concept is like there are ways to do these things. So now that brings us to your point. Go for it. You wanted to add something.
I wanted to add something about cooking is not difficult.
I like that. It's easy.
Cooking might not, saying cooking is easy might be too much of an understatement for some people who don't like to cook or know how to cook, but cooking is not that difficult. It's a matter of planning for success, planning in advance. And I had said that I'm the inspirational lazy chef. Lazy because I take shortcuts. Why chop everything the same size? Who has time or patience for that? My dinners are ready in less than 30 minutes. Inspirational because you can find a recipe and, oh my gosh, I don't have a half a cup of that. I don't have this, I don't have that. But why not be inspired to use whatever ingredients you do have? If it calls for black beans and you only have pinto, use the pinto. It's not a big deal. If you go to the market that day and you don't find eggplant for the ratatouille you're making, all you find are zucchini and peppers, make your ratatouille with zucchini and peppers. If you're making a Mexican soup and you don't like particular spices, then don't make the Mexican soup, make it Italian, put all the Italian spices in there. Go with what you like, what flavors you like, and start watching some cooking shows. Start watching just a few basic things so that you can be able to just put things together quickly and easily, with the idea, remembering that a little piece of meat and mostly vegetables and a little bit of fat on every single meal. It's not that difficult. You just need to plan for success. Because if you don't plan, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. We all know that one, right?
Yep.
Right. We all know that one. We all know that one.
Or I said the 5 Ps. You gotta have to be little ready for your stuff. Otherwise, it's a problem, right? I mean, the 5 Ps is a different formula. So plan to fail, fail to plan, and prior planning prevents poor performance.
Oh, I like that. Say that again one more time, Hurricane. I want to hear it. Prior
planning prevents poor performance.
Oh, I got it. I've not heard that one. And I've been in this industry for 20 plus years.
I'm in sales. We use it a lot.
I like it.
But yeah, I mean, that's the same concept. I mean, it's stated differently, but really the same thing. You got to prep for everything. You have to be planning. And if you don't do it, like nothing else in life, I mean, this show we have to prepare for. I mean, everything you have to prepare for if you want to have a true success. And you're right. People are afraid because they don't want to spend the time. But you know what you did right now? As I'm listening to you, you made it very simple. I think everybody now can cook. You know, the way you broke it down, to your point, people are like, you know, oh, the recipe says I have 10 elements, 10 ingredients. Oh, I can't do this because I'm missing 2. Well, guess what? You're creative enough. You make the same recipe -2 and they have a recipe -2. You know, it's the next one. And sometimes it may taste different and it will be even better. So, but you're right. Don't stress. Just use what you have. You know, like when we say that, right? When your life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. Right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, we all know some of these quotes, right? It's just a matter of applying them accordingly to all scenarios, and you probably find a way out.
Yeah. You know, and you got to find what is your ultimate goal? Is your ultimate goal to be healthy and to have energy and to sleep better and to just be, I feel like life is for joy. So we need to be enjoying. If you're not in joy and if you're having stomach problems, if you have low energy, then take a look at how you're eating, what you're eating, and let's clean that up. Let's clean that up and spend the time, plan your life so that you can eat healthy. And it's not that difficult. It's not. I can teach you a couple of things. It's wonderful.
Well, actually, you were gonna give us a couple of, you know, tips here. So I mean, I know you mentioned a few. Maybe those were them. You probably have a lot more.
No, I have more. There's specific things I want to talk to you about.
Yeah. So let's do that. And then I wanted to transit to your corporate type of shows.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, and what is even that? But we'll talk about that. So let's talk about what you have for us.
Okay. So
hold on, that's the secret sauce.
That's funny. Okay, so it's fast food right in your own refrigerator. And this is what I do. Most weeks I do this for myself if I'm not having cooking shows that week. I'll make myself salads in a jar, soups in a jar, and parfaits in a jar. Hurricane, I work from home and I'm going from one thing to the next. I don't have a ton of time to go into the kitchen and make myself a salad and pull out 20 different things and make one salad. So what I do is I get 5 jars, big wide mouth mason jars. I put olive oil and vinegar and salt and pepper in each of them. Actually, I put it in one and then I disperse it amongst the rest. And then I put crunchy, hard vegetables at the bottom. So I'm going to prepare half an hour for the entire week of lunches. Okay. Chop up the carrots, the celery, throw in hard, crunchy, anything that can marinate goes right in the dressing. Then I'll put the softer vegetables, the mushrooms, the scallions, other things. And then I'll put a protein, hard-boiled eggs, tuna fish, rotisserie chicken, whatever I want in there. Sometimes I go vegan. And then I'll put 2 to 3 cups of lettuce right at the top of the jar. And sometimes I'll put a little bit of cheese at the very top because I like the flavor of goat cheese.
Nice.
Put the lid on. And you're going to put them in the fridge. When you're ready to have lunch, you're going to pull one jar out. You're going to shake it up and put your fork in there and eat it. Or you can dump it into a bowl. But the marinade at the bottom is not cooking the lettuce. It's just marinating the vegetables. And you have a gourmet salad. This summer, my niece goes to the pool with her kids and I want to go to the pool with her. And I only have 45 minutes, but I need to have lunch. So I'll grab a jar, throw it in my cooler, go to the pool, watch the kids for 45 minutes, eat my salad, and then come back for my next appointment. And it's easy, it's fast, and it's healthy. It's healthy. The other thing I do for breakfast, and sometimes I'll eat them for desserts, I'll make parfaits. Again, I get my little smaller jars, and in the jars, I'll put either cottage cheese or yogurt, or if you're vegan, you could always do cashew yogurt. And then I'll put in some berries. I love berries, or kiwi, or whatever fruit you love. Put in some berries. I'll put in some chia seeds, sometimes hemp seeds, sometimes walnuts. And then I'll put another layer of cottage cheese or something and a little bit more on the top, maybe a little cinnamon, put the lids on, put them in the refrigerator. Now I have fast breakfast or snacks to go. I'll even make soups in a jar. Either I'll make a big pot of soup on the stove and then put them in jars and then pull them out as I want to eat them. Or you put the bouillon in the jar. You put a little bit of, what do you call that? Sesame oil in there. You put a little hot sauce in there. You put sliced mushrooms, sliced scallions, frozen peas, and zoodles. I make zucchini noodles, or you get this vermicelli noodles. You put those in there. Put them in the fridge. When you're ready to eat it, pour hot boiling water in there, let it sit for 5 minutes, and now you have soup in a jar. Phenomenal. Fast food in your refrigerator, but you've got to plan to make your fast food. So those are some tips I have for you.
Well, first of all, thank you. And you know what? As you're saying all these things, I'm getting hungry. Those things taste really yummy just listening to them. So, but you know, I'm being funny about it. But literally, I mean, you know, those are like, I mean, you've really covered a lot of good nutrition elements in there. I mean, I think every single thing that you've stated there, you know, is a healthy mix and has good value, and you'll get a lot of nutrients and keeps you going, right?
And it's fast.
Well, it is fast food. I mean, you're right. And I'm sure you can do also regular cooking and stuff. And maybe we can even touch on that. But here's a question. So someone may say, well, you put all this stuff in jars, you know, but are they going to be good for the whole week?
5 days.
So they're good for 5 days.
5 days. You got 5 days on them.
And they're just good as fresh, you know, nice temperature. Any
wonderful.
Temperature has to be.
Wonderful.
That's it.
I find my lettuce actually stays fresher in the jars than if I leave it in the big clamshell. It stays fresher in those jars. It's wonderful. It's like, yeah.
Well, you're listening. You get it from the chef. You're hearing it. You're listening. So that's the good stuff. And again, you're making it sound again easier and easier. Now, it's not so much easier to your point. It's really simpler. I think maybe that's a way to look at it. I just find it simple the way you've described it. It's not hard. I mean, anyone can do this. And by the way, I know you do a lot more work with women. I think even men can benefit from this.
I have men clients. I have men clients. Absolutely.
Listen, I mean, I'm learning, and I'm sure we all sometimes have to do our task right in the kitchen. So, my wife may not like me too much around the kitchen, but sometimes I have no choice, right? If I take turns, that would be me. But now I know some tricks I can share with her.
Yeah.
So that's cool stuff. That's cool stuff. So now let's talk about that. You said you have clients, and you do cooking shows. So where do you present your cooking shows? And so what kind of clients do you have in general?
Okay, so I do everything virtual from my kitchen. So I have a whole setup in my kitchen, and that's where I do my shows. I do shows also for a local television cable channel. So we film once every 3 months for 3 months at a time. But my clients are corporate clients. I have a lot of them come through the healthcare companies who connect me with the clients. And some of my clients, they book me once a month. For the last 2 years, I've been once a month virtual doing cooking shows for my clients. And from that, sometimes people call me and they want to be a coaching client, a weight loss coaching client. And so I also have my weight loss coaching that I do from that.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And I've been teaching cooking for years and years and years, even before the pandemic, in corporations. I've been teaching my weight loss courses within corporations. And it's just different. I'm virtual with everything, which I love. And I miss seeing people in person. I'd love to do some live events, but the whole thing being virtual, I love it.
Oh, it made a whole difference in a lot of ways, and also gave access to people, to things that didn't have before. Because to book you, you have to be limited to surface, to where you are, to location. Now you have, unlimited access to the world, right? You can cook to anyone everywhere in the world, so you can cross oceans and still be able to deliver. That's awesome. But Tina, question for you. So you said you cook for corporations, and what would corporations, what kind of corporations, and what would corporations, want to do in terms of cooking, and for who? Is it for customers or for their employees?
It's for their employees. And thank you. I didn't even think about clarifying that. Yeah, so they want their employees to be healthy and for less sick time, so that you want healthy, happy, productive employees. And when they're eating fast food and junk food, or not sleeping well, and not eating together with their families, yes, I'm going to keep plugging that, they're going to be out of work more often. They're not going to be productive, so they'll lose a lot of money in that respect. So if you want to have a better bottom line, have better, healthier employees. So they'll do these health fairs and health shows, or they have money set aside from their healthcare companies as well. So they use that money for me. Sometimes they just pay out of their budget for my classes, because I'm teaching people. For this one company, I've been with them for a year and a half, to almost 2 years now, Fairfax County. Every month I have almost 100 people who are on my show. They know me. They can't wait for the next show. And they started to change how they're eating, what they're eating, how they're cooking. The whole culture is changing in their household, in their workplace, and they are healthier, they are happier, they are more productive, which is why they keep inviting me back.
Well, that is actually very interesting and unique, because I've been in the corporate world, for almost 28 years, and we've used different services for employees as a matter of, trainings and things, and some coaching, some mental stuff we've done. I've actually used hypnosis, in some trainings.
Nice.
But we've never had someone teaching people how to cook and eat healthier, to be healthier. And you're right. I mean, if you're, one of the problems that you have in the corporate world is that people get sick, and there's more call time, call out time and time out and time off, and people do not show up to work, and productivity and performance is kind of mediocre or lower than it should be. And then it also causes problems where people get, reprimanded and all this stuff, right, over time. So it's a novel. I mean, it's an excellent, idea. And I think, from my back, so I have two hats here, and I'm just gonna move my hat.
It's all good. I have a lot of hats. It's all good.
My other hat is really insurance, and we do have programs for nutrition, things like that. So I'm thinking about how this can be even beneficial to our customers as well. But really, for employees, I mean, that's a very, very different way of looking at it. I'm assuming you work with health services, right? That's usually the unit in the health, the HR. I mean, that's great. So, I mean, I didn't even think about that angle, like, corporate, what is that? I'm thinking more like they do it for customers as entertainment. Like when we talked to you and I earlier, I was thinking more like, we have customers and they want to learn how to cook, clients, we teach them how to eat healthy. That's fine. But really never thought about it from an employee side. Now, anyone that's watching, is working somewhere. I mean, and a majority is probably going to be in a corporate, one way or another. And so this is something that's an awesome idea or suggestion to bring into your corporation and say, hey, did you ever think about this? Have you ever even, considered, that we might be eating the wrong stuff, not healthy, we can't even walk. And some jobs are like, they ask a lot from the employees, meaning that there's also physical needs, of these folks. And if they're not healthy enough, they may not be able to perform those things. And I think when you eat wrong, sometimes you get sleepy. Especially after lunch, a lot of people, they just eat and they're just like, they don't feel like doing anything. They're just like, okay.
And productivity goes way down.
That's right. So really, I mean, it's an angle that a lot of people may not even be considering or even think about. And thank you for actually sharing that. So, I mean, I'm going to be an advocate right now. So this is going to be, and we're going to, listen, I mean, we're bringing something new to the table. Now, a question. So I know this is going to sound maybe weird, but in different companies, they have different, I guess, religious, vision and religious, aspects and needs. So do you, I mean, is there anything that can be different? I mean, you can use the same cooking for all types of food. I mean, kosher, halal, and regular, doesn't matter, right? I mean, they can just use the ingredients according to their belief, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So,
Correct.
so it's not even a problem. I mean, it's not going to limit anybody to benefit from this. I
No,
mean, yeah.
no.
No,
And
yeah.
the corporations also have a choice, like you, on my website, I'll give them choices of what menu they want. And if they don't want what I have, and like this month, somebody wanted organic and plant-based, and I didn't have it. Now I do. It's on my menu, my menu selection. So I created a whole organic plant-based menu that's specific for Cancer Awareness Month.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, I'll create whatever. I love to create new menus. Love it, love it, love it. And especially what the corporation's needs are. What are your needs?
And Tina, that is a signature of a true chef. I mean, it's really always creating. I mean,
Oh,
a chef never settles for whatever they learned, years back. I mean, that's what makes the kitchen, today so diversified, is that everybody's taking flavors from different and learning from different cuisines and fusion, like there's a lot of fusion in food these days, and a lot of add in, flavors and different things from different cultures, and it makes it very interesting. So, so that's awesome. And so now, is there anything that you do specific in terms of your cooking shows to maybe tackle different problems? I mean, right, you just mentioned something specific about food for breast cancer awareness, but then anything about emotional eating, anything about crazy diets?
well, when it comes to my cooking shows, most corporations in the health department, they go by whatever the health month is. I think November is diabetes month.
Mhm.
Yeah, December, I don't know if there's a special month, but I call it Unstuff Your Holidays month. And so then there's another, Unstuff Your Holidays. Yeah. And then there's, I said diabetes, there's mental health month there. So every month there is a different, January's weight awareness month. So every month my menus are based around whatever the health month is. And during the cooking show, I'm not boring. Well, I'm cooking for you. I'm teaching you. I'm educating you. I'm taking questions from the people in the audience. I'm getting them to participate with me the entire time. And you're engaged with me the entire time. You're with me. I miss seeing people's faces. So if I can't see their faces, I want to see them in the chat. If they want to talk a little bit more about, one particular food versus another, or one diet versus another, or why is gluten not good for you, I will talk all about that. I will talk all about that and educate them, because all of my lectures or my cooking classes are not just what I have planned for you. I call them living lectures or living cooking classes, because they're going to morph and they're going to change based on my audience and what you need as my audience. And I promise you'll be entertained with all of my stories from my entire life, and about my parents. I'll entertain you about the time that my sister crunched into kale and thought it was cilantro, but it was a stink bug. So many stories I'll teach. But at the same time, I'll teach you how to find the chemicals and how to avoid the chemicals and eat the wholesome foods. It's wonderful. It is such a passion of mine, Hurricane. I get excited talking about it because I loved to teach and engage and entertain all at the same time.
Well, I can see that. I mean, you're definitely like right in the mood. Like, yeah, this is it. I mean, we had the first part about talking, but now you got into the food and forget about it. You're all over it. Well, I can just imagine the shows. Now these are available, right? These shows, and or are they like public, or it's only those specific for the corporations?
Some of them, a lot of them, I put them up on my YouTube channel, Tina's Joyful Kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah, so you'll find me on YouTube, Tina's Joyful Kitchen. I put a lot of little snippets. The shows that I do for the TV channel, I have access to those. I put those all on my YouTube channel. So if you find me, Tina's Joyful Kitchen, you'll find all of my shows, and you'll see how fun and entertaining I am, and educational.
I might have to share those on my channel too.
I'd love it. Thank you.
That's awesome. So wow. I mean, maybe one day we'll go live with you doing those cooking things. I mean,
we'll do a show. We can do a cooking show live. I've done it before on a podcast. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, it could be even a few minutes, but it will be like something simple, but that people can really enjoy. But let me ask you a question. So I'm asking a question about questions. So what are the questions you get asked, most of the time? Like some of the common questions that people would ask you.
Common questions that people ask me during my cooking shows.
Yeah, I mean, is there an interactive, way, or it's
all very interactive. These are things that I bring out in people. I love to use a cast iron skillet. And I ask people who has a cast iron skillet and uses it, who has a cast iron skillet and doesn't use it, who's never touched one before in their lives. So they have to put a 1, 2, or a 3 in the chat. And I ask them, do you want to know how to take care of your cast iron skillet that is super duper simple? And I'll teach them how to take care of this why they need to use it, how to clean it, how to make it super simple so it's not cumbersome and it doesn't sit with rust, and you use it because you need it, because you get good iron from it, which is what you need. So that's a common question. Other common questions are why I don't use gluten, and
yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. And I'll explain what gluten does. It's literally glue in your system. And I can go into dissertation about that, but I won't right now. Other common questions are knives, what kind of knives I use. I teach knife skills in a lot of my classes, teach people how to hold a knife. Yeah, that's all I can think of now, but I know that there's tons of things. I teach people how to cut an onion without crying. We have so much fun.
That might be interesting. I think everybody like, what's the secret to that? Because I mean, I get an onion and I'm like, literally in tears. That's not fun.
I teach you how to cut an onion without crying, and it's super simple. It's super simple.
Oh, I might have to tap into those secrets here. Now, listen, people are listening right now like, I want to watch this. I want to go to YouTube and check it out. So, hey, we want to make sure that we get people to see those things and watch them and even, communicate with you and see how it is. And, again, are you limited to corporations, or are you open to different things with the public? I mean, I know you do like a TV, you said local TV.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to. I have my chiropractor. He's like, can you do a cooking show for me and my girlfriend? I'm like, sure, why not? Come over. I'll do a cooking show for you and your girlfriend. We'll have a whole cooking class. I'm open as long as I have availability, because I book out pretty far in advance. And yeah, I'm open to whatever you want to do, as long as it's all health related, right? I'm open, absolutely.
Listen, I mean, that's great, because I know a lot of people would definitely, see the value of what you're doing. And listen, there's a lot of cooking shows out there, and some are just more standardized, commercialized, things like that. Well, you don't get like some of them that are specific, and you're doing something different, a different angle. Do you tell people like where they can get their food? Like, they're producing, like, for example, in your area, is there a blackout time where you cannot find fresh fruits and vegetables?
No, there's not. I live near Annapolis, Maryland, and we have I don't have any issues with getting food here. And do I tell people where to get their food? Not necessarily. I love farmers markets, because you can get to know your farmer and how he or she grows the food, and it's local, which is better. Otherwise, there's an organic market down the street from me. I go there, and I also go to a regular grocery store. I do both. Like, where can I find what, depending on what I want to eat. So, yeah.
Well, we just answered that. I mean, technically, you just told us the trick. I mean, farmers markets, they're all year long, right? That's a good one. I mean, obviously, people can do their own homework and research, and there's always a way to do this. And there's now with transportation, logistics, you can get stuff from anywhere. Within 24 hours, they can be on your doorstep. Even Amazon can do that for you.
True, very true. Yeah.
That's awesome. And so one more thing, in the shows, I mean, do you consider anything with specific diets? And I mean, more like allergies. There's a big component of allergies. Some people have, allergies again, from, I guess, cashews or nuts or peanuts or any of those things, eggs. I mean, do you give substitutions to some of these others? Yeah.
And thank you. That's one of the biggest questions that I get. I don't believe I couldn't think about it. So yeah, people are allergic to eggs. I teach them how to make a chia egg or a flax egg. If they're allergic to peanuts and I'm using almond butter, or they're allergic to almonds, I'll teach them to use sun butter. And I have a lot of, I call them sensitivities. I won't touch gluten. Grains are a no-no as well. So I use almond flour, coconut flour in all of my baking. And dairy allergy, I'll teach them how to use things that are, coconut milk or almond milk, and unsweetened, of course. So yes, we get around the whole allergies. And many of the foods that I stay away from, the inflammatory foods, because we don't want the pain, the inflammation. Think inflammation, think fire, think pain. We don't want that. We don't want foods. Think grains inflamed. I don't want to offend anybody who likes to eat grains, but there's a certain way that you can eat grains that don't inflame, where you soak them overnight and you make sure that you process them properly. I'm not going to get into the details about that. But so yes, I do address people who have sensitivities and allergies. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that clarification. That's a big deal. And some people's like, well, this is just, I just want to make sure that people know that there is an option for everyone and they can still all benefit the same way. So
Yes.
thank you for clarifying. So one question, earlier we mentioned something about, eating healthy, eating the family, building, cooking at home and building the immune system. So building your own immunity, right? Now, this is a topic of the hour, right? With the pandemic, that's been a discussion about, better immune system, better, defense against the virus and stuff like that. Have you done anything specific? Have you, was there any specific show to help out people to just kind of boost their immune system, in any particular way, or anything special to that effect?
Every single class, every single meal that I make is to help boost your immune system. Every single one, period. They're all anti-inflammatory. Today I made a zucchini pureed soup with some, I think I put curry in it. I put some curry in it. All those vegetables are all immune boosting, and it's got garlic in it. And garlic is antiviral, antimicrobial, viral, microbial, and bacterial.
Sure. Yeah.
The fresh garlic, not the jarred or the powder, the fresh garlic. And then I made a ratatouille with a cashew cream, and it had fresh garlic in it, fresh eggplant, fresh zucchini, peppers, garlic, fresh herbs. These are all immune boosting foods. And then I made a broccoli salad. Broccoli is phenomenal for anti-cancer, brain health, boosting your immune system. It's phenomenal for that. Every single food that I make. I even made a blueberry cobbler, and blueberries are high antioxidants. I don't use any sugar in it. I'll use some monk fruit. Sometimes I'll use a little bit of maple syrup or yacon syrup. Nothing terrible in it for you. And the topping was made with with almond flour.
No honey?
Sometimes I'll use honey, but it's very high in sugar. That's hard for my body to handle. And sugar is also inflammatory. So I prefer to use the maple syrup is high in sugar too, but the yacon syrup, if you haven't heard of it, YACON, yacon syrup has a third of the sugar of honey. So if you use the yacon syrup, you'll get the consistency that you need, and you'll get a little of the sweetness. And the sweetness comes from the blueberries. So if I went without the yacon syrup, I would have been fine. If I'd have done without the maple syrup, I would have been fine. The more that you get away from sugary foods, the more that you don't crave them. And you crave things like fruit, even though it's cooked fruit in the little blueberry cobbler. It was wonderful that they are all immune boosting foods.
Thank you, Tina. That was great. That was great. You gave us a whole meal right there with dessert. Well, so here's a funny question. I know you mentioned garlic a few times and onions. Now we figured the idea that there could be something without a smell with onions and not crying. However, with garlic, a lot of people have this phobia of garlic and the aftermath of garlic in their breath. so I'm sure, I don't know if that question has come up before, but
I have a simple solution. You want my simple solution, Hurricane?
Wash your teeth after, right?
No, feed it to everybody.
Oh,
Just
good.
feed
So
it to
no one
everybody.
will smell it, right?
Exactly. Just feed it to everybody. Now, I do have a trick to how to clean your mouth to get rid of the garlic in your mouth. Do you want that trick too?
Please.
Yeah, it's not great for your enamel. Don't do this all the time, but swish around your mouth with peroxide, and that gets rid of the garlic.
Oh, the regular part, 3% peroxide, the one that we buy,
Yeah.
actually, you know what? That's the main ingredient in most of the toothpaste. So hey, I guess we can use that, right?
And just make sure you rinse your mouth really well afterwards, because you don't want that peroxide on your enamel. But that will get rid of but feed it to everybody. Everybody wants to boost their immune system anyway. Just feed it to everybody and they'll all be good.
You do not have to tell me twice. I mean, I believe in garlic. I love garlic. But people are sensitive to it. Like, oh, it's garlic. I can't have it. I can't have it, But you're right. They're missing, not only it gives a good flavor to any meal, but also it's healthy for you, blood pressure and many other things, right? So well, thank you. I mean, listen, I want to ask a lot of questions, but we're already like running out of time here. so Tina, it was a true pleasure, a fun show, and a lot of good stuff. And we haven't had any shows, only guests, before. I haven't had any, interviews with anyone that talked, we've talked different food types but not how to cook them and what ways to do this, and some real cool combos and recipes that are very easy to make, and ingredients that are available. So thank you for all that. I will definitely share the links to your site and to your shows and the YouTube. So that's going to be available to people. And you and I will definitely going to continue talking about maybe the corporate world and maybe doing different things. So that's going to be cool. And listen, I had a lot of fun. Any last words, of wisdom, or any tips that you can give us before we close today's show?
I'm so glad you asked me that. I want to leave you with this piece where our listeners, your listeners, is we are here on this earth for joy. And just reach for joy on a daily basis. And the way that I reach for joy is having rampages of appreciation. Something bad is coming your way, just start to think about everything that is wonderful in your life, because there are good things in your life, and that will help bring you back to joy, because we are meant for joy in this life. And yeah, that's all I want to say. And I want to say thank you so much for having me. I've had so much fun today.
Tina, thank you. And actually, I won't even add anything other than thank you for being with us and for all the good stuff. So, folks, thank you for watching, listening. It's been real. It's a great show today. We had fun and a lot of good tips. So, hope you enjoyed it. And for me, Hurricane H, I'll talk to you soon. Different show, different guest, different topic, different day. Bye for now. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.